Hey, how are you? Brian Cain, your peak performance and mental conditioning coach here. And today we're at the University of Houston. Spent the last 3 days working with one of the top college softball programs in the country and head coach and master of the mental game, Kyle Hollis. And one of the analogies that we use that I've been using a lot lately with the top college and high school programs and athletes that I work with is this analogy of a GPS. And if you're driving on the highway to excellence, and you get off at the wrong exit, does the GPS get negative with you? Does the GPS tell you, you suck, you're worthless, you're no good, you're a moron, you're never gonna make it, you suck? No. The GPS simply says, rerouting. But isn't that what you do to yourself sometimes? Isn't that what we all do to ourselves as competitors and people committed to excellence? When we make a mistake, we beat the heck out of ourselves instead of just learning from it. We don't fall into the winners and learners category. We go right to being a loser and beating ourselves up. So when you make a mistake, or if your season's maybe not gotten off the start that you wanted it to, or things aren't going your way, you got to reroute yourself. As a mental conditioning coach, that's one of the key things that I try to do with the athletes I work with, is get them to reroute themselves. Get back to what you do when you're performing at your best. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to go back to when you have played your best, when you've competed your best as an athlete. Go back to those games, go back to those moments. Relive them in your mind as clear as you can. See them as if they're in HD, hear them as if they're in stereo sound, and feel them as if they're happening right now. What were those performances? Write down those games. Write down those specific situations and replay them in your mind like it's a highlight video. And you'll start to see and you'll start to feel and hear those performances. Because we know one thing about peak performance, that you'll never outperform your self-image. You're going to respond and you're going to perform to a level that's consistent with your image. So we've got to always be working at how we see ourselves in that projector that's in the mind, because that's one of the few weapons that you have complete control over as a one-pitch warrior in baseball or softball, or as a competitive athlete who's pursuing excellence. So reroute yourself back to when you performed at your best. What were you saying to yourself? What was your self-talk like? How were you feeling physically? What situations in your preparation or in performance allowed you to be at your best? Go back and replay those as often as you possibly can. And don't be that athlete who makes the mistake that if they got 80% that day, they go out and focus on the 20% they don't have instead of the 80% they do have. Because what makes you think that if you're in this circle here, that the person who's standing in that batter's box has got it all together? They never do. Or if you're standing in that batter's box, what makes you think that the person standing in this circle pitching has got it all together? They never do. No one ever has it all together. The great ones have figured out that you fake it till you make it, but you also fake it till you find it. And one of the quickest ways to find it is not to just fake it, but to tap into it and go back to when you were at your best and reroute yourself as often as you possibly can. That's what my Monday emails do, reroute you back to your best. That's what these blogs do, reroute you back to your best. That's what these videos do, reroute you back to your best. And I've got a book coming out here later this year called The Daily Dominator, where every day, 365 days, I give you one page to read. So every morning as a part of your routine, you are going to reroute yourself back to thinking about what you do at your best. This is Brian Cain, your peak performance and mental conditioning coach, helping you to be your own GPS, to get back on that highway of excellence and performing at your best when it means the most today. Go dominate the day.